Today, we're jumping into a challenge that pretty much every global company has to deal with. How do you manage your money when you're working across different countries with totally different rules and a bunch of different currencies? Well, the solution we're looking at, Universal Parallel Accounting, is a complete game changer for seeing your financial world in real time. Think about it like this. Does your business speak multiple financial languages? Of course it does. You've got your local accounting standards, GAAP for one country, but then you also have the international standards like IFRS for your big global reports. And we're not just talking about translating words here, it's like having completely different grammar rules for the exact same financial event.
For decades, the only way to handle this was by keeping totally separate sets of books. This created these massive data silos, and you guessed it, endless manual work trying to make them all match up. Universal Parallel Accounting, or UPA, just flips this whole idea on its head. We go from separate books to one unified ledger, from data silos to a real-time view, and from all that manual pain to clean, automated posts.
So, let's really dig into this global accounting headache. Why is this so incredibly complicated for so many organizations out there? Maybe even for yours. The best way to picture it is like trying to have a single conversation with a group of people who all speak different languages. You're constantly translating back and forth, things get lost, and you're never really sure everyone is on the same page. And in the world of finance, that mess translates directly to confusion, major delays, and a huge risk of error. And here are the messy details of that chaotic conversation. You're juggling local and international accounting standards. You're trying to manage transactions in your local currency, your group currency, and sometimes even a third functional currency. Oh, and to top it all off, some of your companies might even have different fiscal year ends. The result? Insane hours of reconciliation work. But the biggest problem, you have absolutely no clear, real-time global view of your company's financial health.
But what if you had a universal translator for all this financial complexity? Well, that's pretty much the whole idea behind Universal Parallel Accounting. It's designed to make that multilingual conversation totally seamless and instantly understandable for everyone.
So what is it exactly? Well, Universal Parallel Accounting is the ability to take one single business transaction, just one sale, one purchase, one asset movement, and record it according to all your different accounting rules in all the relevant currencies at the exact same time. The real magic words there are single transaction and simultaneously. Now, this is super important to get. This isn't just some new feature that's been tacked onto an old system. No way. This is a complete architectural shift. It changes the very foundation of how financial data is captured and stored. We're moving away from a system of making periodic adjustments to a system of simultaneous parallel truth. Okay, so that all sounds pretty great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's walk through a couple of real-world examples. Let's start with a really common one. Valuing your inventory. Your global group might be using IFRS rules to value its stock, but your local company in, say, Brazil has to follow local GAAP, which has totally different rules. How does UPA handle that? So check this out. A single thing happens, a goods issue. Instantly, UPA posts two different and completely correct values. The group ledger sees it as $120 based on IFRS rules, and at the exact same moment, the local ledger sees it as $135 based on local GAAP. There's no waiting around, no batch cabs, no frantic end-of-the-month scramble to fix things. It's just one event creating two parallel correct realities. Okay, let's try another one. Capitalizing a new asset. You've been collecting costs for a big project, and now it's time to turn those costs into a fixed asset on your books. But again, your group rules and local rules might disagree on which costs you're even allowed to capitalize. And you can see it's the exact same idea at play here. The project settlement happens just once, but at that exact moment, UPAC calculates and posts two different values. The group ledger gets an asset worth $50,000, while the local ledger gets one worth $55,000. Both are real, both are correct, and both happen at the same time, from that single transaction.
There's this one line that just nails it, and it's this. The values are correct at the time of the posting. It's not about fixing the numbers later on. With Universal Parallel Accounting, the values are correct for every single accounting principle you follow from the very second the transaction hits the books.
So when you start putting all these pieces together, you unlock what you could call the power of parallel. It really is a whole new way of thinking about your financial data. This right here is the core promise. It's so simple, but so powerful. 1. Single transaction. That creates multiple correct views. And the best part? Zero reconciliation. Because they're already in sync by design, right from the very start.
So, you might be wondering, where does all this live? The crucial thing is, this isn't happening in a bunch of separate systems you have to glue together. All of these parallel values, every currency, every accounting principle, they're all stored together as different lines within a single unified table, the universal journal. And that is what truly gets rid of data silos and creates one single source of financial truth for the entire company.
All right, let's tie this all together. We've seen the problem, and we've seen the pretty cool technical solution. But so what? Why does this actually matter for the business? What's the real payoff here?
Well, the payoff is huge, actually. For starters, you get real-time, group-wide reporting that you can actually use to steer the business, not just look in the rearview mirror. Suddenly, compliance with both your local and international standards becomes, well, almost effortless. That painful, time-sucking period-end close process gets radically simpler. And maybe the biggest win of all, everyone in the organization, from a local accountant all the way up to the group CFO, is working from a single, trustworthy source of financial truth.
And that really leaves us with one big question to think about. With data so often scattered all over the place, you have to ask yourself, is your business truly seeing the whole picture all at once?
Let's talk about